So we got a botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. Think about it. We stranded thousands of Americans behind enemy lines, took the lives of, and this didn't need to happen. 13 heroic U.S. service members died. We left billions of dollars of military equipment behind. Now some of that's reportedly being used by Hamas in their raid against Israel and in their still attacking the IDF. By the way, let me tell you a story about this. This is anybody that's been in the service. My service tags, we have 2 service tags, and they're not shaped like this. But this service tag was given to me by 2 parents. They're American families that their kids grew up in the States, and they joined the IDF. So outside our office, we put a poster of all the hostages. I don't think at the White House they have that. But the top is Hebrew, and they came to me. Their kids grew up, and they joined the IDF, and they were captured the first night, and they haven't heard from them. So 2 people have told me different things. It says the hostages or their hearts are in Gaza, and bring them home now. And don't you wish we had a president that would do that? So we got a military that's more focused on pronouns and being lethal. We got the complete destruction of women's sports. Did you see that thing? The clip came out where I think it was a lacrosse game that a male played women's sports and really sent this little girl to the hospital. People getting paid not to work. Now think about it, a guy that ran on getting jobs back. I don't think that makes sense. We got crime rampant all across our country. People break the laws and there's no enforceability. We got a nation where criminals have more rights than victims. We appease our dictators. You got merged dictators. They're eroding freedom, democracy, stability around the world. And does our president stand up and say, no way? No, he says, let's go over and say hi. So Schumer just went over there. So now Israel's under attack and at war, and Joe Biden is reduced. Well, think about it. He reduced oil sanctions, and they gave Iran $6 billion, and he can't talk about it. He can't talk about hostages. So we know Iranians, Israelis and Americans have been tortured and killed. I was at one of the kibbutz about a half mile from Gaza in 2019 with my wife, and there were babies beheaded there. I talked to a lady that gave us the tour. She said that basically everybody on her street was killed. I mean, this is all at the hands of Iran. It's Iran-backed terrorists. So we got a president who can barely even talk about the Americans held hostages. You saw that when he did his little talk, he talked about for 50 minutes. He spent 15 seconds on our hostages, and he's talked about Ukraine 23 times. So he ought to be in the Situation Room saying, how the hell do I get these hostages home every second? Instead, he's doing what? Green New Deals, went on the beach in Delaware. So think about it. His State Department admitted that money, if we give money to Gaza, it goes to Hamas. They admitted it. His State Department, not Trump's, his State Department. They said it's likely to go to Iran-backed terrorists. And he said, okay. They said we should, think about it, we should be, when you see this stuff, you think, how could that happen? I've been up there 5 years, you say, how can we be doing these things? So I filed a bill, and here it's really difficult to understand. It seems pretty logical. It says we are not going to give money to Hamas. Real controversial, right? So I went down the Senate. Yeah. So I went. Now, who could vote against that, right? So I go down the Senate floor, and guess what? Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer blocked it. So it just said it was like one page. It says all they have to do is say we're not going to give American taxpayers to Hamas. But it failed. I mean, you can't make this stuff. So here's my deal. We need to talk about the atrocities. We need to talk about what happened, and we've got to support Israel. And we've got to make sure they completely destroy Hamas. So somebody said, oh, gosh, they said, oh, we need to have a ceasefire. I agree. We ought to have a ceasefire the moment after every Hamas terrorist is dead.